Three, two, one. Hello, and welcome to our Mindful Leadership podcast. And today we're joined, this is our first international podcast where Natasha's traveled all the way to India. So, welcome to Natasha, my co host, and to our special guest, Gaurri. Thank you for joining us all the way from very sunny India.
Yeah,
It is.
it is sunny.
Yeah. I went from a -2 to a +31, which was quite a drastic change.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. So happy to see the sun for sure.
So that's amazing. You're not missing anything in Scotland. It's still a bit dull. I mean, the lighting in Zoom's making the lighting look good. Very similar, right? It's almost like we're in the same country, but we're not. And I must remember there's a little bit of a lag between us, so I'll try and remember that as I'm rabbiting on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I've been trying to get into the sun, and Gary's like, come inside. And I'm like, no, vitamin D. I need it.
That's right.
Okay, let's start this off. Shall I do a quick introduction of Gaurri? And then we usually ask a little bit about yourself and your journey. So, Gaurri A. Kadam is a dedicated guide in the realms of spirituality, healing, and personal growth. As a founder of Soul Synergy, she creates transformative experiences through workshops, retreats, and meditative practices. With deep expertise in Akashic records, Reiki, and ancestral healing, Gaurri helps seekers to reconnect with their inner wisdom, fostering self-love and forgiveness. Her work blends ancient spiritual teachings with practical insights, empowering individuals to embrace the present moment and heal at a soul level. Whether leading a corporate session on gratitude, a 7-day chakra balancing and Reiki activation workshop, a 2-day self-love retreat, or a limiting belief workshop, Gaurri provides a safe space for inner transformation through journaling, energy clearing, and guided meditation. She helps participants release subconscious blocks and step into their fullest potential. Passionate about continuous growth, she also thrives in R&D problem solving, seeking challenges that align with her skills and curiosity. With a supportive and encouraging team, she remains committed to innovation and expansion, both professionally and spiritually. And Gaurri would like to talk to us about boundaries, burnout today, because you've helped quite a lot of people.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
perhaps you could give us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
So basically, when I was tapping, before being a healer or being a coach, I was in film production and I was working in Qatar for the Doha Film Institute. And after that, I decided that for after working for like about 8 years in Qatar in the production house over there, I was like, what better way to shift careers and move to India and move to Mumbai and work off of Mumbai because that would be Bollywood. Like I would be working in the industry. And when I landed in Mumbai, I started getting offers. I got offers in some really nice production houses, but I remember this one production house I got an offer in. As the CEO was giving me the offer, I'm like, thank you, but I feel like I need to say no. And he's like, why? What is the reason? And he's like, is it the money? Or I was like, no, everything's perfect, but I don't know why. I feel like I need to say no to this. And long story short, my mom had helped me settle in Mumbai. And I come back home after the interview and she's like, how was it? And I was like, it was great. And she's like, oh, wow. So when do you start? I said, I rejected the offer. And she's like, what? And she's like, okay, I'm packing my bags. I've helped you out enough and I'm going to head back home and you figure it out from there. And one day I was just speaking to a friend, just helping her out with something. And she's like, you could actually do this for a living. And I was like, oh, there's an idea. And after that, I started looking into coaching certifications. And I was like, if I'm getting one, I'm going to get an international one. And I found a beautiful institute in Calgary. So I applied, I got in, and I always knew that I wanted to do coaching and spirituality together, but I never knew how I wanted to merge them together. So when I landed in Calgary, I met this beautiful woman,
Hmm.
and she is the one who opened my pathway towards the Akashic Records and Reiki. And I studied under her, and I learned from her, and I continued learning from her. And now we're traveling together, so we're having a lot of fun.
Wow. What an amazing introduction. I can see why you guys are together. It's really wonderful. And thank you, Gary, for sharing your journey, some big bold steps, right?
Yes.
And before I ask some questions, Gary in particular, like you're just glowing, and Natasha too, but Gary, like it's just like this big, beautiful, like this very light aura around you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm fascinated. First of all, could you share a little bit more detail about that experience you had where you said no to what seemed like a good or maybe even perfect offer, like what was going on in your body at that time, like how you felt in that moment when you took that bold step and said, no, it doesn't feel right.
So basically, I was sitting, and the interview was also pretty. They didn't have an office in Mumbai. They had an office in Gujarat at the time, and I was sitting in the interview, and we were sitting in a Starbucks, and he did my interview in a Starbucks, and everything went well. He saw my resume, and he's like, "You're perfect as a as a programming head for our company, and this is the offer, this is the salary." And it was like as if my gut was just like turning inside, and right up here in my heart, I just was like, say no, say no. And I'm like, this is silly. This is so silly. Like, why am I saying no? But then it was just an inner calling to just say no to the offer. And I'm glad I did, because today where I'm at, I'm able to service so many people and be of service to so many wonderful souls, not only in India, but across the globe. And this is a much more fulfilling job that I'm going through than what I would have been doing back then.
Oh, fabulous. And that heart, stomach, and mind connection is so powerful, right? Like I feel like a lot of us, and I've done this a lot in my life, would disconnect these because everything's easier in your life when your whole team of you, like every aspect of you, is kind of disjointed and fragmented. It's like, oh, I can just ignore what's going on in my body and I just keep going with the things that my mind says yes to. I had a client yesterday. I'm doing a new service of Swedish massage combined with psychic reading. And they, on the psychic side, they're asking all about their potential paths forwards. And we're using some of the Akashic records as well to find out whether they'd make this big decision. And they had to make it that same day as well. It's like, by the end of today, I've like got to decide. I was like, oh, great, no pressure. And when when we were doing the work, and this was through the um, energy healing that I was doing afterwards, a bit like Reiki, I call it quantum healing, and I was helping their solar plexus, their stomach, and their heart and mind come together more as one because their mind was saying, no, right, do not take this big opportunity, and then the heart was like, good, this is the most joy we've ever felt. And whenever my client described the joy, like their whole body lit up, and it was like the little version, their inner child sat there going, this exciting thing, and the mind's like, no, but it might be a waste of time, and just finding that connection. So it's really powerful that you were able to do that in a moment, and it's a high pressure moment, right? When in real time you have to make a decision. So in part, I just wanted to congratulate you, and then also acknowledge how important it is. Like I feel like so many of our world problems would be solved if we could just have a stronger heart and mind connection, and um, not to belittle in any way our stomachs, like our solar plexus, that gut intuition, so important.
Absolutely. It must be, that's incredible because a lot of people, especially how we've been conditioned to actually think about that. And I think this is what this podcast is all about, is really connecting into your body in
Yes.
order to drive yourself forward. You coach a lot of clients that are do the same as well. So
Yes.
how do you coach them through that?
So recently, I've been getting a lot of clients who are using, like, when it's time to have faith and trust and move forward, their logical mind kicks in. And sometimes I have to literally tell them, like, allow your logical mind to be on the side and just go with the flow. What's the worst that can happen? You will have a setback, but you learn from it. There's wonderful lessons out there. But many a times we're afraid of those lessons because we don't know, because we're afraid that we might lose, like you said, an opportunity in real time. Um, and yes, it was a very powerful opportunity. Salary coming in when I have no money, absolutely zero income coming in. My savings are going on, and at the same time, I'm paying a heavy rent in a city like Mumbai. And at the same time, I'm just like, no, I'm saying no to the salary. It was a very scary feeling, and my clients experience the same thing when they have to make these tough decisions, when they have to decide on the spot and go. And that's when I tell them that give it a shot. There's honestly nothing to lose. Like you will gain an experience at the end of it.
Did you have any pressures from your parents? Because it's enough having your own decisions, but sometimes we have those around us that are kind of like there's an expectation that needs to be met. How did you find working through that?
So, no, not exactly pressures from my parents, but my parents did want to see me settle down because if, like, for example, I was having a good income in Qatar. So when I moved to Mumbai and now I'm paying rent. Like at least when I was in Qatar, I was with them. I was staying with my parents. Here now I'm staying by myself and I have to pay rent. So they were just like very concerned as to how am I going to make ends meet. So that was their pressure. There was no other pressure as to get this done, go for it. I was getting offered production for TV serials, for the Indian TV serials. And my mom's like, are you accepting it? I said, I cannot accept something that I don't watch myself. That is a boundary that I draw. Like if I'm not able to sit and watch this every single day, then I cannot be a part of the production of it. Like for me, it feels like I'll be a hypocrite. I'll not be honest to myself, and I will not be honoring my own voice. So that's when my mom was like, I think I've had enough of it. Like you figure it out by yourself, and I'm out. So yeah, there were a few pressures, but not extreme pressures. They were like, just figure it out, whatever you want to do.
And can you tell us more? Like, I love boundaries. I did I think I did a video for over an hour recently, just talking about boundaries, and then got loads of comments asking for more. I could talk forever about it. I feel like one of my boundaries is to, in the moment where any part of me disagrees with the easy path that I'm maybe about to take, I just stop and I'll just say, no, I'm not going to rush into it. I'll take 24 hours. That would be a boundary for me. I'm just like, no, no one will push me into it. It has to be my decision, and I have to have time to reflect and feel into all aspects of me. And I'd love to learn more about your experiences with boundaries, both personally and also how you help your clients.
So for me, I think the biggest boundary has been honoring my no's. If it is a no, it's a no. And
Mhm.
it's very hard when you come from a culture where it's all about people pleasing, making sure that everyone else is taken care of, making
Mhm.
sure that you don't hurt anyone, making sure that you're polite, making sure that you're respectful to everyone around you, and making sure that you respect their time. What about my time? So I've always had these questions in my head, like, what about my time? If it's not okay with me, why should I say yes? If spending time with you does not honor me, why should I say yes? If doing something with you or um, like saying yes to a client, like now I've started even saying no to certain clients, or when they want to overbook or keep booking a particular session, when I've given you all the answers, you need to now take those answers in and start integrating them and working forward with it so that if you do book the next session, we are working on something different. So, like, really honoring my no's. If it's a no, it's a no. And that has been honestly a very big challenge, and Natasha's really helped me with it. But she's really like told me, like, there are times when she's like, you need to love yourself. Love yourself enough to say no. You're worthy enough to say no. You're deserving enough to say no, and really respect that. Like there are times I've called her up crying. I'm like, how screwed up am I? And then she's like, it's okay. You'll figure it out. Love yourself. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And she's like, you'll figure it out. You know the Natasha answer that you get. You'll figure it out. It's okay. And I'm like, okay, I trust you. And I'm like, I cut the phone crying. And then a few days later, I'm like, okay, so that's what she meant. So you don't really just respecting my own voice and allowing that no to be an authentic no. Because if I'm saying no with authenticity, I'm not going to hurt you. And if you're a person who's understood that, you'll respect it. And if you haven't, you'll walk away and that would be fine. It's okay. It's okay either ways.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much in there. Thank you. Yeah, a couple of recent experiences I've had. One is a client asking for like similar to what you're saying, like more sessions. And of course, the part of you is like, oh, more money. But then imagine that it's a world that's everything was free, right? Would you still be saying yes to the work? Because they were asking, and they're like, but I know that they're lightly because our last session was like, here was the things we agreed to do. How did you get on? They're like, oh, I haven't really done anything. So all they want to do really is turn up again and have me say, there, it's okay that you've not done all these things and pay me for that pleasure. And I was like, there's no joy in it for either of us, regardless of whether there's any money or not. And I think that's one challenge I always give to myself is like, it's never about the money. It's about being of service to others, and always making sure my cup is filled, that my self-love is full. Because if I just overbook myself, or I just end up with clients who I'm saying, there, it's okay. I know it's a hard life. You'll be fine. Come back next week and pay me more money to say this again. Like that would be miserable for everyone and wouldn't help everyone. Um, and in your journey with clients, um, and you offer like a really broad range, right? You it seems like you've learned this huge spectrum. I'm just staring at your bio again in my other screen. This huge spectrum of like practical, logical, um, and also energetic and metaphysical skills. How do you combine those, especially in the theme of boundaries? Because as I understand it, the more we practice an energetic work, we start to almost we increase our sensitivity and therefore increase our vulnerability to some of the kind of finer aspects of boundaries. Have you had any experience with a broader spectrum with boundaries?
So my recent experience has been with limiting beliefs. Now, if you think about it, limiting beliefs, the word itself, limiting, is a boundary.
Mm.
But at the same time, that belief is keeping you limited. So I started working with my own set of limiting beliefs, and I've been doing that for a very long time. And I was just like, this limiting belief is not really a boundary, but it's keeping me small. It's keeping me it's not giving me the power that I need to move forward and take on the world that I want to, or be as authentic as I want to. So I started working with my own set of limiting beliefs. And in fact, this very year, I came up with a new course on which I can work with my clients on letting go of certain set of limiting beliefs and trauma-based beliefs that is keeping you small. It's not a boundary. It's actually it's hindering your growth. It's not even allowing you to flourish and not even allowing you to grow, and become the highest and greatest version of yourself. So that has been my recent experience into boundaries and how that has shaped me and my work moving forward. But apart from that, I think boundaries is always a struggle for many people. It has been for me. I mean, I can speak only for myself, but boundaries definitely has been a struggle. Like even drawing boundaries with your own family members.
Yeah,
It's so hard. It is so hard to just say, no, I'm not going to be doing this today. Like I'm not up to it. I'm not up to feeling like I want to show up for our family get together or whatever it is, and I don't want to do this. And now my parents have come to terms with it, but before there was always this push and pull that used to happen. They'd be like, why are you disrespecting us? Like, why aren't you taking um, us seriously? Like now I have to even drop, like, because I'm an entrepreneur, I keep like, my office is always open. There's never a day when I shut off. So now I've started drawing boundaries that weekends, especially like Sunday, I'm not going to be taking any clients on and spend that time with my family and give that time to myself, or else I'm going to reach that burnout stage very soon, which had happened last December for me. I reached a major burnout stage, and I was just like, I think I need to shut shop. Like, I can't deal with this anymore, because I wasn't taking the time to process my own set of emotions. And we don't realize that as healers, when I'm healing someone, I'm also taking on a lot. And as I'm giving them information, so people will come to me who need information, who need guidance. And at the same time, if I'm giving you something, I'm also like, I need to hear this as much as I'm telling this to you.
Mhm.
And that information just comes in. So I'm also calling those energetic imprints in my life. But if I'm giving you the information, I'm not allowing that to integrate within me. So now that boundary has come in very beautifully, that give yourself the weekend. It's okay to take 2 days off and just like recoup and come back to work.
Yeah, that's lovely. And those sort of important, right? Like um, you know, when you don't say no to something you actually feel a no about, or enough of you feels a no about, it's almost like energetically, emotionally, you already said no, but then you continued on with the actions. Like if
Yeah.
you worked, you take on too many clients, or don't give enough time for recuperation, or you say, especially with family members, because it's so easy to just say, but I love them, you know, I love them, and so I'm not going to say no, or I'll, you know, compromise on it over the boundary, but uncomfortably, like too far. Um, and yeah, I think that's really important to logically understand as well, because you can say to your mind, what would happen if I said yes? If I said yes, let's just imagine a few days and weeks, or maybe a few more instances of keep saying yes. All that happens is this energy, like from your gut and your heart. It's like I said no, and it's like, and we're saying yes, but I said no, and we're saying yes, and eventually, you know, I do things like I'll just end up being unhappy with the other person, whether it's a family member, and saying, and they'll say things like, "But I thought you said yes. I thought you enjoyed doing this." I'm like, "Well, I don't really enjoy it. Can you tell by my face?" And I'm always trying to hide my face, you know. It's like, "Yes, I'm really enjoying it." Um, but yeah, I think that's also an important part of boundaries, is to know that further down the line, what is the consequence that you're still going to have to pick up the pieces of you compromising your own boundary. And even if you haven't fully defined it, even if you haven't said, oh, weekends are family time, weekdays are work time, even if you've not come up with that boundary, like parts of you feel that already. There's too much fluidity, and you know, not enough definition in your own beliefs or own conscious awareness to start to help support that, and to support like having the right amount of energy for all the things that you love at the right times for you and the right pace for you.
The
Go ahead.
The hard thing to do as well is to create boundaries when you're doing something that you love as well,
Mhm.
right? Because I think we all do what we love and it doesn't feel like work sometimes. So it's actually drawing that pace of, okay, let's slow down. And the hardest part about setting a boundary is then upholding it as well,
Yeah.
which is what I found, is because sometimes we tend to slip back into those old habits. And I find that a lot of us entrepreneurs work from home. And sometimes because we work from home and we work from others, so for example, I have a mom at home, so she might happen to be, I might be doing an admin day and totally engrossed in my work, and then there's that question, just an interruption, and it kind of like starts to interrupt the flow, and it's like, hang on a minute, at work, you know, I'm going to get a sign that says, okay, like I'm out, kind of a thing, because if we were somewhere else, and perhaps that is physically creating a space where you can go to be in that space, or creating. So one of the boundaries that I had with a lot of the times, especially at the beginning when I was doing Akashic Records, time and space disappears. So sometimes you end up, instead of an hour session, I was giving, you know, an hour and a half, almost 2 hour sessions. And then I started realizing, wait a minute, this isn't honoring that person's time and it's not honoring my time either. So I kind of like, I almost had to create something that would stop me from doing that and honor that time. So I started booking my clients back to back in that sense, or giving a short period of time to allow that to, and that's how I was able to uphold that boundary and continue on with it. And it's so funny that I've noticed kind of like in a lot of the work that we do, we're really good at something in one area of our lives and perhaps not good in the other areas of our lives. So we sometimes might be good at boundaries at work in our office, but not necessarily at home, or the other way around, or with our children or with our friends or whatever it may be. So what I get is find the one that you're really, really good at and take that feeling and apply it to the other parts of your life, which is important. And then the other thing to unpack is we talked about limiting beliefs. So limiting beliefs, we've always got them. And I started to realize like sometimes like I can feel a limiting belief in the peripheral, but I can't pinpoint it. And you keep coming up against a wall. So it's so interesting that when a limiting belief surfaces, is my belief, and you both can correct me if I'm wrong, once it surfaces, it doesn't serve you anymore. So it should be easy or could be easy to let go of it, but because it's kept us safe for such a long time, it makes us hard to let it go and to change our action because of that muscle memory that is there. And then we feel guilty about letting go of that limitation or changing our behavior as well, which is incredible. I don't know how you both feel about that, Gaurri?
I absolutely agree because limiting beliefs, just to add on a little bit, it becomes your comfort blanket. It keeps you safe, it keeps you warm because you're so used to that energetic imprint that you've been holding on to for such a long time. So it's a way of keeping you safe. It's like that blanket that you'll carry around as a kid just to cover yourself up. Like I still carry a shawl around me because I get very cold, no matter where I am. Even if I'm in the hottest country, I'll still carry a shawl around me. So I see limiting beliefs like that. Like whenever I'm cold, like whenever I feel like this is very uncomfortable, just pull out that shawl and, wrap myself up. And I see limiting beliefs like that. Like whenever you feel uncomfortable, because it's the fear of the unknown. Is the fear of the unknown. So I'm very uncomfortable with that unknown. So I'd rather just wrap myself around this. But we don't realize that by doing that, you're stagnating your own growth. You're not stepping into your full potential. You're not stepping into your power.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like one thing I do each evening, usually as I'm having my dinner, is I just reflect on what I've done that day. And I say to myself, what did I do that made me feel uncomfortable? And
Wow.
like what was I doing to get out of my comfort zone? And it's funny because sometimes you forget, right? Sometimes you're like, oh, that I just did my third combined psychic reading and Swedish massage session because I'm still training in Swedish massage. So I was already nervous doing like massage sessions, but then what was going on in my heart was like, but you can do it. You've done it with reflexology, Jon. Do it with this service. I'm like, no, but this is different, and it's like people's bodies, and maybe they'll just be like annoyed as I'm talking at them the whole time with a psychic reading. It's like, but it's your superpower, Jon. Like, try it and then just see what happens. And yeah, I found that just so beautifully rewarding and almost like, as soon as you stepped out of that comfort zone, it's like already a comfort zone. It's like already, it's on my website, it's a service, and I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder what's next. And I'll be asking myself the same question today without too much pressure. Is like, okay, I don't mind maybe 80, 90% of me being in a comfort zone all the time, but at least 10% of my effort in a day or the things that I do, maybe it'll be exerting a boundary, like you're saying about the length of sessions. Like one thing I enjoy doing is just saying at the very start, I say it out loud because it's like I'm saying to myself, and I say, "This is a 1 hour session. You've booked a 1 hour session with me," and it's like it's reaffirming something. I think that's a good way of also both creating boundaries, but when you also want to step outside of a comfort zone, you can also say it out loud or put the service on your website and just do it, right? And do it for free the first time, or do it for, actually I find it more successful just doing it really cheap for the first times you're offering something. People often see more value in a small figure than free. But just doing, like, making that commitment to yourself and saying, now that I've publicly stated I'm going to do a thing, i'll I'll see what happens and just try it out. I don't need to marry it, I don't need to do it for the rest of my life, but at least I'll be stepping out that comfort zone. What I would love to ask you about, Gaurri, is your experience with burnout, because in my experience, it was the constant breaching of my own boundaries, in particular working hours, that caused me to face my biggest burnouts when I worked for Amazon previously. Could you share a bit more about your experience?
Wow, I'd like to know more about your Amazon experience as
Of
well.
course.
But for me, so last year it was the end of November, like beginning of December, and I had started doing workshops with my clients. So I started like holding small book readings where I was just like, okay, if you can't afford my session, let's read a book which might, if I'm like reading the book with you and if I'm explaining the book to you, we can tap in a little deeper and you might get some answers and you might have some value. So we started doing book readings together and those workshops started growing massively. And like you said, like charging a minimal fee, like not charging a lot for it because I was just like, you know what, like I want to just be of service to people. This is not my way of really earning my money. So, but what I realized is people would book in and not show up. And then I'm just running a workshop for like two people. And poor thing, those two people would then end up like sending notes to the entire class. And I was like, that's not fair. So for me, it was just a lot of push and pull and not respecting time, not respecting, like, there was a lot of like, push and pull with the boundaries. And that's when I, at the end of November, decided that I'm not doing any more book readings now. Like I'm going to stop, put a hold on these workshops, and only those people who are ready for it will show up. And I will restart this probably in January, but that's not going to happen anytime now. And in December, and I was also taking on, because of these workshops, I was getting a lot of clients, which I was very grateful for. But at the same time, my energy was taken away in things that were not like that, like places where I was not respected, like the workshop. I felt like you were not really respecting the energy or the information that's coming in. And that's when I had the constant debate. Is this soul consciousness? Is this my soul consciousness speaking, or is this my ego consciousness coming up that you're not respecting my time? That question also comes up in the head, like my time. So that I felt was more ego consciousness. So I was just like, hold, take a break. It's all right to take 1 month off and just focus on the clients that you have currently, then focusing on the ones that you probably can have. Let's like really work with the clients that you have and, let's get them some really nice results and let's see what happens in the future and stop worrying about the future. Like it's okay. It's been taken care of till now. It will be taken care of in the future. So trust the universe that the universe always has your back. And that's why I really, it was big to say that, you know what, I'm going to put a hold, not going to ask for any new clients and just work with my current clients. Um, Also because like after 5 years, I was getting like an inflow of clients and I just suddenly said, universe, hold. Like I need to take a breather. And I was, and that's why I say that the universe is always listening. The universe is always responding to your frequency. So when I said hold, everything went on hold. I had my current clients and I kept working with them. And in January, when I started getting downloads, information, I had taken a nice 1 month break. And I said, okay, universe, I'm ready. And now, like, again, they're coming back in. So the universe is always responding to the frequency. So instead of being afraid of, oh my God, I'm going to lose clients, I just chose to trust and honor my boundary of being like, take a break, take a breather. It's okay to breathe.
That's fabulous. And I'll before I just keep doing my natural thing and asking lots of questions, you wanted to ask me a question.
Yeah, I want to know about Amazon. Like I've heard a lot of stuff, and I've had a client actually who worked for actually two clients who worked for Amazon in Seattle. So I'd like to know your experience.
Fantastic. Yeah, in summary, I was there for 8 years and I left in May last year. In fact, it was really funny. I bumped into Natasha just a couple of weeks ago. I was back visiting my old work colleagues. I was there for 2.5 hours visiting them all. And as soon as I came out of the office, there was Natasha. And it's like, wow, it's like such a small universe. Um, but yeah, I joined in 2016 and I'd been up to that point about what was it, 18, 19 years in the software industry, and I joined as a software manager, and I was developing artificial intelligence systems to work in recruitment. So some of the first, not the very first, which was very negatively and publicly shared. But after that happened, I started my teams, and we built systems for helping fairly and responsibly evaluate resumes, looking for duplicate profiles, job recommendations, a whole range of stuff. And that was a lot of fun. And I built a team of about 30, 35, 38 people. And we did a lot of travel. Went to Seattle a lot. Never made it to India with Amazon, but it was lovely to be able to reach not just like into the millions of people because we knew that our systems touch real people's lives, but also right across the spectrum of leadership in the company. And yeah, some of my experiences of like burnout and boundaries. And first of all, it started with my own breaching of boundaries and just working too many hours. Because in the UK, we're 8 hours behind the west coast of Seattle. So you just always have that battle. And it's totally unreasonable in any human's mind to think that you could match like a Seattle working hour. And yet I was always putting myself under the pressure to work later. And finally, I did write it down. It took me a few years, but I wrote it down. That was helpful because you couldn't just say it to your boss. You couldn't just say, "Hey, you know, please be the god of all meeting requests for Jon and make sure that no one asks me to work late." And it was something I had to do myself constantly, and get comfortable with it. Like and I also found some coping mechanisms like writing it down, sharing a little one-page document why it was important,
Wow.
focusing on sustainability, and then also the benefits of time zones. And you'd be amazed, a bit like my clients now, because most of my clients are still in the US. Um, if something's really urgent, I'll just say to them, you can just let's just meet like really early your time, but morning my time. I
Mm.
have time then. And it really, like literally to me, I had lots of time. It was always like 4 p.m. onwards. Every day was crunched so tightly with meetings. Um, and I think there's there's always like, once you've explained your story and the reason why you have a boundary, because every boundary is unique and personal to us, you can also see the opportunities in it because they're not all just no's, right? Sometimes it's a no to that thing you're just asking because it's easy to ask and maybe just want to slightly bully me into convincing me that it's a good idea. But if I do it once, I'll do it all the time. So this is a boundary for me. Here's some suggestions because, by the way, while you're sleeping, I've got 6 hours done. And by the time you wake up, we can meet and it'll all be amazing. So yeah, that was it was a fabulous experience. I'm so glad I went through that journey at Amazon because it really helped me overcome many self-limiting beliefs, and really obsess about customers. That's probably one of the biggest things I've taken away as well.
So how did that help you with like setting up your business?
I think it was quite funny. I think I learned so like the way Amazon's structured is certainly in corporate is teams they call them two-pizza teams, so teams of eight. So I joined a team. Actually, my team was four when I started, and I built it to eight. And then you're just in a startup, and but you get paid a salary for as long as you can convince people that it's a good idea to have your team. And that was true for the entire time that I was there. It's just I moved on to build four teams. And the fascinating journey is that you always have to come up with like a big future looking statement. So that was one thing I took as soon as I started my business. It's on my website, under the about section, and it's my press release. And Amazon talks very publicly about this. And it's when they first started trading, they had this press release that said 3 years in advance, this is what we'll work backwards to achieving. So it's written in future tense, in present tense, in the future. And I did that for myself. It's like, what am I going to do, Jon? Like, what's my vision? It's like, oh, I want to help people, help explore their darkness and the light and bring balance within themselves and then across the universe, help them with their spiritual awakenings, and offer a range of services to support all that. And that exercise was a huge leap for me. Um, and then, but what I knew was missing was the me part. Was like, I need a work-life balance. I love camping. I love time with my family. I love like all these things in my life. I would fail if I just did the business part, especially as my business is me. So that was one thing I expanded it out to and rebranded it a bit to becoming my future my future vision. Um, and then also I learned a lot about um, just dealing with the chaos and ambiguity of life and learning that it doesn't matter what, like, choose your customers, right? And then choose one of their problems. It doesn't matter which customers you choose, and it doesn't matter which problems you choose, but choose one and then don't get distracted about everything else. Like, even if, so in our world, like if we could just help one person in our entire lives, that's helpful, right? You might change that person's life. You might make that person go on and do the things that you maybe would have done if you didn't enjoy camping and spending so much time with your family. Um, and and I also learned that just obsessing about my customers constantly. So saying, okay, what do you want? So I just ask them. I go on, I ask them in client sessions. I ask in live streams each week. I ask in every little meditation that they do for 10 minutes. They give a one-line sentence and I read through them lovingly each morning. It's like, someone did a meditation and here's what they said. Like, always asking, because you don't need to fulfill every request, but bringing your awareness and understanding like that your customers always come first, but you still have to have your own boundaries and you still have to have your own self-love. Achieving that balance there with like the two biggest things. And I think that one of the experiences that I learned as well was that I will just burn out again working for myself if I haven't learned that lesson of self-love, if I haven't learned the boundaries of my own time and respecting, if I wouldn't expect my partner to work 24 hours because I love them and I wouldn't want that for them. So why would I do that to myself if I really love myself? So that was a big thing I needed to learn just before I started my business. Otherwise, I'd be back here doing it. I burnt out again video.
It's interesting how old habits and old conditioning play in, right, to this finding ourselves back at overscheduling ourselves, finding ourselves back at running, workshops, in the way that we do. So I think it's important that, like you say, Jon, is like stepping back and going, okay, what does this look like 3 years' time, and working our way back in a sense of how is this working for me and is this sustainable? And it's very interesting from the fact that even it reminds me of Six Nations out in Canada. Whenever they're making a big decision, they look at how is it going to affect the 7 generations to come as well. So, and I think that's important, that having that futuristic mindset of, okay, how does that work? And we were talking about this the other day in the sense that we were talking about, I was feeling the sense that Mumbai is very quite balanced in masculine and feminine, in the sense of you feel that there's a lot of entrepreneurs wanting to go forward, but there's also a lot of creativity and organized chaos, even if you look at the traffic, which was quite scary, kind of a thing. But it is this kind of like pushing forward. And we were talking about how sometimes a lot of the entrepreneurs don't see that future side of things, and how is this going to sustain itself and scale itself in the next 3 to 5 years. It's a very much a quick now, kind of like we just need to create something for now, and not look at the longevity of things. And I think, as you say, planning in that self-care aspect of it. And one thing that I started doing was actually scheduling my self-care into my calendar as if it were a client. And that's at the beginning. I found that to be very, very useful, because you won't move a client, but you'll move yourself.
Yes.
So, and it's honoring it in that way, or organizing it in a way that you actually have to leave the house or leave so that you're not distracted and you can honor yourself. And I think that's important, where that the very foundational base of self-care is important. And especially as healers, and especially as people, and it's not only healers, but I think the people that spend time with people need that time to recoup, because otherwise we're giving from a place of empty or burnout. Because I think burnout is almost like trying to run a car or a vehicle without any fuel. And that doesn't sustain for a long time. And even within me, I keep finding deeper layers of that because of the conditioning that has been placed in there, and the expectations that we put on ourselves, as well as the societal expectations. How do you both feel about that, in that sense of, like, I think it's getting used to being uncomfortable is what they say in the Akashic records, right? It's kind of like pushing those boundaries and going against the norms, which I find is quite important. And I think black sheep, which a lot of people, entrepreneurs are black sheeps, are really the shepherds of tomorrow, which I find to be quite interesting. So how do you navigate that?
Wow, this can be taken in so many different tangents,
Yeah, I
but
know.
but as you were saying, I feel like when you were talking, so honoring our no's, I feel like comes from, again, the place of people pleasing. So at least for me, I feel like that has been like my biggest challenge, overcoming that. Like, I don't want to lose a client. Like, initially, that used to be my fear, that if I say no, this person's never going to come back. And again, Natasha has been very instrumental in that area, where she's like, honestly, you cannot imagine servicing an entire Costco run on a Sunday. It's going to be crazy. You're not going to be able to service that. And you are setting yourself up for failure. So it's okay to say no. And going back to the saying from the Bible, like, my cup runneth over. I can only run over, like, I can only overflow when I am servicing myself, when I'm being of service to myself. So I feel like honoring my no's and saying no at the right time, and it's okay. And being okay with it. It's very uncomfortable in the beginning. It's been a journey to say that. No, I don't think I can schedule you in for a session right now, or I don't think I can overrun this time, but we can book another session in the week to come, and we can talk about this moving forward, but allow whatever has been what has been coming through in your records to just integrate, work with the messages, and then let's see what comes up next week. So
Yeah.
really honoring those messages. And also the other tangent I wanted to take it on is like, we as kids have always respected our parents' boundaries. At least this is a very, Indian thing. I feel like if my parent is saying that you should be home at a particular hour, as a child, I'm like, how much can I push this? Like, if you tell me to be home at 10, I can try 11, but I will keep you hanging for 1 hour, and I keep stressing. So 10 is when I'm going to leave the venue and not be home by 10. So I feel like, but the minute I say that this is my boundary, like, I want to be in bed by 10, now I realize this, that, and I explain this to my clients, it's like, as kids, when your parents said be home by 10, you wanted to push that boundary. But now
Yeah.
that it's your own boundary and you say that you want to be in bed by 10, you'll make the world move around you, and you'll make sure that you're in bed by 10. So whenever it's my own boundary, I'll respect it. But when it's someone else's and I'm not okay with it, I'm going to try and push it. And I feel like this pattern also comes in. I mean, at least for me, it's coming from a childhood. Like, I've been a rebel. Like, if my dad said, wake up at this time, I'm like, okay, 1 hour after that time, I'm going to wake up and we'll see what happens.
I love that. I also think we like it feels like most of the humans in the world seem to make this really incorrect assumption that the assumption is that time is energy, and they're not even connected, right? And we just go, oh, I don't have time for that. But like, well, how's your energy? And so like it's a good red flag for you to check in on, right? When you're feeling about how many hours you've been working in a day, and you check in on your energy levels. Like last night, I fell asleep on the sofa like that, and I never ever do that. And I was like, I did 4 sessions today, and that happened to me. I can't do that. That's not sustainable. I never behaved like that. Why did that happen? It didn't matter. It doesn't matter if people do similar work to me and do 100 sessions in a day, or if they do one a week or whatever it is. I'm finding that balance, and so I'm constantly going in. I go into my website and I constantly tweak the working hours every time I have an experience, and I go very conservatively to fill my cup first. And I think about the energy. And in fact, just after this podcast recording, I'd already scheduled a very intense session from yesterday because I knew I had a lot on. But it wasn't just the number of sessions; it was the energy I required to put into them. And this in this session, and I'll have 2 hours after our podcast to just relax to do whatever preparation I want to do, and it's just me time. There'll be no like phone time, John, telling myself off. But it's like it's so easy to just think, well, those hours exist in the day, so therefore I probably have, on a typical day I would have energy for it. But what if that's not true? Imagine that you're not talking about time, you're just talking about the energy. And you're saying, okay, when I do these activities, they replenish my energy. When I do these activities, they drain my energy. And I love doing some of the things that drain my energy, but I'm getting, finding ways to get better and not like allowing people to drain my energy. Sometimes that's the people themselves that you work with. If you just sat there and they're just saying, yes, I totally agree, John, I'll definitely do that. I'll be back next week. And then all you hear is they haven't done it and you feel drained. Or maybe it's more like metaphysical, like you're in the session. And I hear this from, meditators and massage practitioners and nutritionists. They're like saying, after sessions, I'm just so drained. And the client feels great. They're like, oh, it's just so good. Can I come again? Can I come again? And you're like, I need, I need to recuperate. And then we can meet again. So yeah, I think like focusing on the energy first. And I haven't figured out the magic in my calendar yet, other than I have orientated my services to like they are both the time that is around them, and then I can create buffer time around it. The harder, more intensive sessions have longer buffer times, and they also now have specific days I'll do it. And so it's almost like I can take a kind of average of my energy and say that's okay. I could do that sustainably. But then also knowing when things go wrong, when you're wrong, and you say that energy calculation or estimate, John, was wrong, I need to be able to say, and I've done it. And last time I did it was in December. I had to push out like 3 days of work, and I just said, no, it's just too much. I couldn't have anticipated for this. And you feel bad for your clients, but you know that they don't want you just turning up. And I'm like, hi, I'm like so drained, but I made it. I made it to our one-to-one. Like they don't want that either, right? They want your energy. They want your vitality.
I think that's so important, and it's almost kind of like how, like before I left, I realized that I was running into those old habits of having too many balls up in the air because we were wanting to do everything, and everything is so exciting, and needing to pull back. And it was quite interesting because knowing that this was coming up, it's so important for us to create that time, not only for ourselves, but I started to realize that the first week and a half we worked really, really hard running retreats and stuff like that. But now this part of the journey, and I think everybody needs that bit of time out, and I've forgotten about, is to recalibrate that work that we're doing. So now I've worked with a whole bunch of clients, and now I'm working on myself so that we can continue to support those clients as well. Like you say, to show up with like full of energy and kind of like, this is the best version of me, and I'm going to be able to like, be able to like kick butt whatever I can, in order to help you move forward and empower and create those opportunities. So it's interesting how it shows up, because the more we delay that, the longer it takes to recover and recuperate as well. I started to notice within that. I don't know how you both feel about that.
No, I absolutely agree. Like when I don't honor myself, it shows up. It shows up like with me, you will be able to read my face. If I'm not here, I'm not here. Like I'm out. Like I'm zoned out somewhere else, figuring something else out. But I agree. I agree. Like if I don't service myself, if I'm not taking time out for myself, it's some small routines as simple as doing my gratitude every day, sitting in meditation every day, taking time to read a book or listen to a podcast or something that energizes me or something that guides me moving forward. If I don't take that time out for myself in the day, I feel like I'm being of disservice to my clients because I'm not filling myself up. I'm not recharging myself. It's like putting my phone on charge every night. If I don't put my body or my mind or my mental state on a charge, I'm not going to be there for my clients. It's impossible for me. And I've noticed that. And I'm honestly very like I've for compared to what you both have been doing, like I've literally just started my journey. So for me, I feel like there's a lot I need to learn and unravel, but whatever I have been able to pick up, I've noticed that give yourself time. Give yourself time. Like at the end of the day, like many of my clients actually come up to me and they're like, it's easy for you because you're single, you don't have anyone to take care of, you're not running a I'm like, no, It's not easy for me. It's as hard for me as it is for you. And even taking out that time and working with my own boundaries, with my own limitations, working with my own self-sabotage, I need to come out of it and I need to keep telling myself that nope, it's okay to pause. It's okay to pause. It's okay for you to go do your meditation. In the middle of the day, I'll sit for 1 hour of meditation. If I have got that 1 hour pocket, I'll just sit for that 1 hour of meditation and then go back for my clients. So taking that reset, taking that pause has been a challenge, but now it's become easy. And it's also, I feel like it's like a muscle. The more you practice it, like the more I'm lifting weights, the easier it becomes. So the more I say, okay, I'm going to take a break right now. Initially, it's hard, but now it's become so easy. It's like, yeah, I'm going for my break. Sorry, I'll see you later.
That is wonderful advice. And Gary, I really resonate with you were saying earlier, like the universe is always listening or watching. And I remember there was an Edinburgh ghost tour. It's called the Ghost Bus Tour. If you're ever in Edinburgh and try it, it's super fun. And in it, there's all these characters like role playing, and this is like creepy bus conductor, and he comes up to you and he stares at you and he goes, "Always watching, always watching." And he does that to everyone. And by the end of the bus tour, everyone's saying it. They're looking at each other, going, "Always watching." And so I always think about the universe. And in November, I was very blessed to go on a podcast in a month when my business was at the lowest income I'd had since starting out by myself. And I was going through many of the same, and I'm sure some of Natasha's words were in my mind as well. As I was like, "There's something happening, Jon. There's something big about to happen. Don't lose faith." And I'm getting like tingles down my spine as I'm saying that. And I was busy, like, even though I had less money, I was buying more things. And that's a great hack for lack is to spend, right? If you don't have money, spend it. And so I bought like a microphone, and I just had to move out of my studio because we were renovating our house at the time. So I did this podcast in my camper van, but I managed to like get a proper setup working, and I never actually told anyone that I was even in my camper van. Um, and but what happened energetically in that moment is I turned up, and I didn't know this that I was walking into this. Um, I was walking into a YouTube channel which had over 100,000 subscribers, which I hadn't noticed had grown exponentially recently, and that one of the hosts had been doing similar work to me but had stopped doing it. And suddenly I was walking into a place where there was this huge opportunity, but I was a little bit naive to it. But the most important thing was my energy was like I felt clear, I had capacity, my calendar was like nice and fresh and empty. I was like I was feeling on my game. And when I watched that video back, I'm like, who's that version of Jon? Like he was just so energized. I was just like, wow, that's amazing. And I remember the host was saying to me, "Now, Jon, you might get a lot of bookings after this." And I did. I got almost 6 months within about 48 hours. So I was just booked out, and my wife and I were busy updating my calendar for the next 14 months. And it was a wonderful experience to have. And yet I know that's what like that always watching moment from the universe was like, is he ready? Is Jon sat at his computer worried and doing lots of marketing because he's out of lack, out of fear of not having enough customers? Or is he feeling good and expansive and he's kind of just like waiting, like your calendar says, yep, waiting for a client. And you just sit there and I don't know, maybe go out and do a walk in nature and do something that fills your energy, and you feel like, yeah, you're watching universe because I've got lots of spare time. And I think that's a really lovely way of working. It's very different to what we're told to just push, 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 push. But I do feel that pushing so hard has taught me that it slows things down because literally the universe is staring at Jon typing on his computer thinking, he's just too busy. Like he's too busy in this lack cycle. So I'll not give him new clients yet.
But
Yeah.
that's a very beautiful point you put there. Like, not just honoring your no's, but honoring your yeses are also major boundary. And that's how you push your boundaries, which you said so beautifully, that you honored that yes. And you were like, yep, it's scary, but I'm going to jump onto this opportunity and I'm going to see what happens. And when you did, you had a lot of abundance come in from all different forms. And this is something I have been telling my clients recently. Like, I've been coaching them on feelings, thoughts, beliefs, and actions. You need to work on your feelings. So if you're feeling lack, what's going on? What are your thoughts? What are your beliefs? Where is this belief? And I recently read this quote in a book. Um, oh, Esther and Jerry Hicks, I forget the name of the book. Ask and it's given. So in that
Mm.
book, it was said, every belief was once an innocent thought. And that just sat and resonated with me so beautifully. I was like, wow, that is so powerful what they just said, that every belief that we have was once literally an innocent thought, that maybe you can't do this. That's it. But we made it into such a strong belief that I can't do this. I'm not worthy of this. I'm not deserving of this. And that formed our personality, that formed our reality. And now we're sitting here breaking those bricks and moving forward and pushing our boundaries and being like, you know what? It's okay. Let me just smash this wall and see what happens. So, working on our frequency. So, when you vibrate at the frequency that, nope, I'm not going to give in to the frequency of lack. I'm going to vibrate at the frequency of abundance and see what happens. Let me invest in the mic. What's the worst that can happen? I'll have a mic. I'll do something with it. If I don't end up doing a podcast, I'll do something with it, or I'll sell it, or whatever, you know? You didn't give in to the fear of, I don't have money, I'm not going to invest. Let's
Yeah,
just sit back. So instead of vibrating at lack, you chose to vibrate at abundance and see what happened. So very
that's
beautiful.
what.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
And I often say to myself now, I'll say, John, you don't have a lack of customers problem. You have a lack of capacity. And even
Yeah.
when I feel like I have no one signing up for something, it's like because the universe is like, yeah, but you're so busy with all these other bookings. And I'm like, and my lack is like, yeah, but I just want to sell one more training place. And it's like, no, but you're too busy. So do you have, and I didn't realize also in the moment that just before I accepted many bookings, hundreds, was that I already had capacity problems I wasn't aware of. Like my website wasn't super intuitive for people in the US, and that caused a bit of confusion when there's lots of bookings came in. And it's like because I remember having that internal conversation, thinking, yeah, but only once a month does a customer get confused about the time zone on the booking system. But that the capacity problem is, if that was like a quarter of my bookings, and I amplify my number of bookings, suddenly if I scale that, that's a real problem. It's like it took me hours of rescheduling sessions and a good few hours updating my website, which I could have done when I had a lot more free time. Um, so yeah, I think
And
that capacity side is a huge thing, and often it's our energy, right? It's not just our time; it's our what's your capacity for energy.
And John works at a capacity of like 5 people. It's
wow.
really impressive.
Wow. That's amazing. No, but to add to what you just said, you're so busy. I used to say that a lot, like I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I don't have time, I don't have time. And then later on, I saw this one conversation with this it's like a female saint that I follow, Sister Shivani, and she just said, start saying, I am so easy. I'm so easy and I'm so in flow. And I was just like, wow, that's an affirmation that I could start saying, like, give it a shot. And honestly, when I started saying that, time just showed up. I was just like, wow, where did I get this pocket of time? Like, where was this before, last week before, when I needed to schedule a client or schedule like a pedicure for myself or do something for myself? And now that I've started saying that I'm so easy, I'm in flow, everything just flows around me. I don't need to worry about a schedule. I don't need to worry about a calendar. Of course, I do need to log in my clients and put them in, but I don't need to worry about how am I going to fit you in.
Mhm.
And I don't feel bad when I have to take a break. Like right now, we are on a break, and I'm not feeling guilty about it. Like, yeah, I'm taking this break for myself.
That's
Beautiful.
fabulous. I love that. I'm so easy. I'm in flow. Yeah, I'm definitely going to practice that. Because my wife and I, we often joke and say, um, "Oh, how was your day? Oh, I was so busy." And then we go, bit like we both say it together, like busy, busy bees, like buzz, buzz, buzz. And we're laughing at this funny thing we say to ourselves, like, "Oh, I'm just so busy all the time," and it's like it's quite a negative like often. And so when you laugh about it and you just go, because you can be a busy fool, I can be a very busy fool, of maybe five fools all at once, and it's like it's okay. You don't need to be busy, busy, busy. You could be in flow. You could. you can have a much more enjoyable life if you choose it.
Yeah. I like to think as well as the universe is always, we're spoiled brats. We're always saying, the universe is always saying yes. So whatever our thoughts are, whether you're busy, yes, you're busy. Whether you're in lack, yes, you're in lack. Whether you're in abundance, yes, you're in abundance. So I like to think about it like that as well.
Yeah,
Which is awesome to see.
absolutely.
Shall we meditate?
Yeah, love to.
Do you want, before we go quickly into the meditation, where can people find you?
So I've got a YouTube channel, which I will be sharing the link with you guys, and you can just put it down in the description below. I also have a website, which is literally my full name, gaurriakadam.com. And I am also available on Instagram if anyone wants to reach out to me.
I love
Beautiful.
your website. I just clicked on it. It's like, whoa, this is this picture of like, it's like I'm easy, I'm in flow. I love that. So fabulous. Yeah, I'll add those to the videos and the podcast.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Shall we meditate? Just really quickly center in. There's so much to talk about. Where's this meditation gonna go? Covered a lot of points here. Thank you so much, both of you. Okay, let's connect in. Let's make ourselves comfortable. Take a couple of deep breaths. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. As we exhale, release the tension, the stress, any worry, anything you're holding on to that's not in alignment with your yes, let it go. And breathing in and exhaling. And as you continue to breathe deeply and completely, you'll feel more and more relaxed, letting go of the stresses that you've experienced, or the stresses that you feel you might experience. Let that all go. And you'll start to notice that as you continue to breathe, you'll start feeling lighter and lighter. And you'll start to glow brighter and brighter as the true essence of who you are, the divine being. Your essence continues to expand. As we let go, we create more space for our divinity to shine through. Letting go of anything that constricts us, whether it be physically, mentally, and emotionally. Letting that all go. I'm going to invite you to imagine or to connect into the chakras on the soles of your feet, the energy centers on the soles of your feet. So open those up and allow the exchange of energy between you and Mother Earth. And as you continue to feel this exchange, you start to feel more grounded, more connected. Connect into the root systems of the trees. And become one with Mother Earth. And become one with this network of ancient knowledge and wisdom. And as you become one with this network of roots connecting you to all things, allow that energy to flow in through your body, moving up your legs. Allow them to clear the chakras on your knees, representing the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Our knees also represent flexibility. Allow these chakras to clear on all levels, all layers, and all dimensions, bringing our flexibility, whether it's overextended or underextended, into balance. And these chakras also represent destiny. And if this flexibility is out of balance, it makes us harder to walk our path in the direction that expands us, walking the path of our highest potential. And allow this connected energy to continue to move up into the body, allowing it to connect into your root, anchoring this energy into the base of your spine. Allow it to activate the ability to trust in the knowing that you know what is right for you. Trust within yourself. Trust within the intuition that you're getting. Trust that you know the direction you want to follow, to honor yourself. And allow the energy to continue to flow up into your sacral. And allow the limiting beliefs around manifesting your desired dreams. Let's release, let go. This is our center of creation. Allow this energy to extract all that hinders or blocks the flow of life, the flow of your expansion. Allow this energy, your center of creation, give it the freedom that it needs to create the life that you are worthy and deserving of being when you are in your highest potential. And allow this energy to continue to flow up into your solar plexus. And allow it to speak to you. What are the boundaries that you need to create in order to allow this flow of creation? What are the boundaries you need to let go of that are keeping you small? Allow your power center to shine bright like the sun, focusing on your passion, your purpose. Just like the sun gets up every morning, its only job is to shine its light. It can only shine its light to be able to support its universe. Remember that you have this power. Be the sun. Activating the sun within you, activating your true divinity. As you allow this energy to move up into the heart, ask the heart, what does it truly desire? Now, what does it truly desire to create? What does it feel like when you are in your highest potential? What does it feel like to completely love and honor yourself and respond to life from a place of love and compassion, honoring you, the true divinity, and knowing that when you honor your own divinity, you are able to be of service to others, because then you have the love. You're not looking for it outside, but you are emanating it from the inside out, because you have it to give. Where can you love yourself more? And allow this energy of Mother Earth to continue up into the throat. Allow it to clear your avenues of your expression. Allow it to clear the fears, the limitations in asking for what you truly desire. Clearing the fear of saying no to the things that no longer serve. Clearing the fear of saying yes to the things that expand you, to the opportunities that show up that are in alignment with your joy, your excitement. Clearing the pattern of making things fit to please others. Activating your voice so that you can speak into existence consciously that which you desire. And allow this energy to continue up into the head. Allow it to create clarity and vision. Allowing your head, your heart, and your gut to align. Because when these are aligned, you're completely of service and completely alignment with your higher self. And allow this energy to move up, out from the top of your head. Clearing the limitations of connecting up into the higher self. Might not necessarily be up, but let's connect into the energy of the central sun. Allowing a light to move up through time and space. Connecting in with this being. The frequencies of Christ consciousness, unconditional love, compassion, and ascension. And as we draw this energy back down into our body, allowing both energies to merge, to circulate, to replenish, to replace. We expand these energies beyond our physicality, clearing our auric fields, raising the vibrational frequency, bringing the alignment of the feminine energy within us, of Mother Earth, the masculine energy of the sun, into our bodies, creating the Trinity, the child. Both energies balanced, nurturing, caring, and grabbing those opportunities, activating the strength to choose ourselves, to choose service from a place that is full, from a place that honors not only ourselves, our families, our clients, our teams, our clients, our suppliers, aligning to our highest potential version, becoming the highest potential version. All frequencies, all cells, aligning to the divinity that we already are. Take a deep breath. Allow that to anchor into your physical, your etheric, your mental and emotional bodies. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Allow yourself to move gently, remembering that this is who you are at your core.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was epic. I just felt like I was going off on a whole journey. Really beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you, Gaurri. It's been fantastic meeting you. And yeah, please do everyone check out Gaurri on the links that I post in the video. And also excited to most of my activities on YouTube. I'll find you there as well. And yeah, look forward to maybe you guys. Maybe you'll come to Scotland next time, or maybe we'll all be in India next time. That would be a lot of fun. But thank you for joining us this time, and hopefully we can see you again soon. And thank you everyone for joining us. Please do share our videos, and if you're interested in coming along to our podcast, just let us know. There's links in every podcast episode on how to submit your guest request. And we look forward to seeing you again in the next couple of weeks. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you to Gaurri and Natasha. Thank you.
So much.
Bye, everyone.